Today we're going to be revisiting one of the most popular and possibly most embarrassing trend of the 90s. POGs. Ah yes, POGs. One of the go-to things people like to reference when it comes to baffling trends. They're right up there with the pet rock, beanie babies, and fidget spinners. God, remember fidget spinners? They disappeared overnight. If you weren't around when POGs were a thing, they were kind of like trading cards, except they were little cardboard discs with various designs on them. Most common were radical 90s designs like skulls and snakes and 8 balls for some reason. But for maximum awesomeness, some were cut into shapes. Saw blades seem to be the most common because I have a whole tube of them. And if you're feeling creative, you can use this crazy contraption to make your own custom POGs. Pretty cool. And of course there were plenty of licensed POGs, and everybody was on board with this. Movies, TV shows, well-known brands, comic book characters, video games, even celebrities. Yep, if it existed in the 90s, it got POG'd. Though one thing I never understood is we always referred to these as POGs, when POG was a brand. Yeah, I remember it having that little hairy guy as the mascot. I guess the generic term would be milk caps, as that's how the whole thing started, and I do recall there being other brands, but somehow POG just stuck. I guess it's just one of those things where the brand became so associated with what it was that that's just what we call it. Kind of like Kleenex or Band-Aid.
Band-Aids is a brand name. The proper term is adhesive strips.
While most people were content with just collecting POGs, the real fun was the game you can play with them. First, you put down a mat, such as this Play It Loud one I got from Nintendo Power. Then you and your friends shuffle your POGs into a stack and lay them face down. Then you take turns hitting the stack with a slammer, which was made of plastic or metal. The idea was to flip over the most POGs to win, and sometimes you would even play for keeps. But you never bet your best POGs. I always use my extras. I'd love to demonstrate a full game, but unfortunately none of my friends play POGs anymore. They all went on to have, like, careers and families. Or as I like to call them, excuses to not lose any more of their POGs to me. That's right, I'm looking at you, Ricky. I still got your POGs, bitch. You want them back, we gotta have that rematch you were crying about last time we hung out. Loser. Now, regardless of how you feel about POGs, one thing is certain. They were big during their time. They made a lot of money, and kids loved them.
Remember Alf? He's back in POG form. You traded my soul for POGs?
But for some, having a lot of money just isn't enough. Enter Legend of the Hawaiian Slammers, a direct-to-video 22-minute animated short produced by Deke in 1994 that may have been a pilot attempting to turn POGs into an animated series. Yes, this is real. I've been holding on to this tape for a very long time, and I think it's long overdue for a review. So let's take a look at Legend of the Hawaiian Slammers. So as the title suggests, this takes place in Hawaii, and I'll give them credit for that since that's where the whole milk cap craze started. Though it's called Hawaiian Slammers, which sounds like a pretty generic name, so I guess they couldn't get any specific brands on board with this. Might be for the best. Anyway, we open with some scientist guy trying to unlock the ancient secrets of something.
Just as I postulated. A slammer of darkness.
Ah yes, this will fetch a fine price on eBay. When it's invented.
According to these hieroglyphics,
it says choking hazard, not suitable for children under 3 years of age. What could that mean? So he takes his new toy for a spin and it unleashes Shadow Slammer, one of the evil slammers, in case you can't tell. And he tells him that there are other slammers hidden in a volcano. We then meet our main character Ronnie having a friendly game of caps with his friends.
I got your holograph cap, Ronnie.
Yeah, well, I've been working on a special move. Check this out.
Oh my god, the Texas tornado!
Get Todd, that's it.
Into a triple twister flipper! This kid's a pro!
Not bad, eh?
So after that massacre, the scientist guy and Shadow Slammer find another disc buried in the volcano.
Run!
Nothing mortal can harm the dark.
Oh god, I was wrong! It hurts so bad! Ah! They find the disc, but the explosion causes the volcano to erupt and it gets launched out. Gee, it's almost like using explosives inside of a volcano was a bad idea.
Thanks for the pizza, Mike.
My pleasure. Not.
I gotta cruise, dudes. Catch you later.
Later, losers! I'll be back tomorrow to take more of your caps! I love those guys. Ronnie finds the cap on his way to his guitar lesson, but the villains are right behind him.
Will you teach me that classical piece today, like you promised?
You mean the riff by Eric Clapton? Sure.
Next, I'll teach you to shred like Jimi Hendrix. That lesson's expensive. You have to light your guitar on fire afterwards.
I believe one of you found something that belongs to me.
And I believe you forgot to knock. Come back in half an hour after this boy's lesson.
Nobody interrupts my guitar lessons. Beat it before I knock you out like Glenn Danzig. Why wasn't this guy the main character? They try to get the slammer from Ronnie, but he accidentally activates it, unleashing Sun Slammer. Whoa, my slammer turned into a glam rocker! Awesome!
Why don't you fight back?
Because you have not commanded me to do so.
Yeah, I look awesome, but I can't really think for myself. I need you to tell me what to do. Fortunately, he fights back and sends them running.
You haven't seen the last of Colford Fragment.
Oh no! Look at my house!
Aw, man, my weed was in there! The commotion attracts some attention and they have to bail. Then Solar Man tells Ronnie about his origin story from hundreds of years ago.
A great volcanic explosion caused a warp in space and time, releasing 5 evil entities from our world. The Slammers of Darkness. Lava Slammer, Storm Slammer, Lead Slammer, Fire Slammer, and Shadow Slammer.
Ah yes, the old erupting volcano dimensional rift trope. So they slowly and awkwardly terrorize the locals, but then the good Slammers show up to stop them.
Rain, Earth, Gold, Ice, and myself, the Sun.
What, no Heart Slammer?
Slammers are immortal, so there was no way for us to destroy the Dark Ones. Our only choice was to hold them and trap ourselves at the same time.
Yes, hold them. Gently, but firmly. Caressed, even. Yeah. Nice.
How did you come to me?
Our energies can only be freed by a life energy of a similar nature. Evil humans can thus control the Dark Slammers. Good ones, like yourself, can control the Slammers of Light.
Ah, I see we're operating on Skeleton Warrior logic. So they need to get the rest of the Slammers before Dr. What's-His-Name, or he'll rule the world, or whatever.
No way! I'm not going down there, you go!
I cannot go without you.
Hey, I'm just a kid. I mean, this is the kind of stuff an army should handle. I gotta be home in time for dinner anyway.
Come on, jump into the pit of spiky volcano rocks. We need to move the plot along.
Your armed forces cannot stop the Slammers, Ronnie. Only you can. You must make the same choice I made 3,000 years ago. To act for yourself, or to act for the good of all.
Look, Ronnie, you're the only white kid in all of Hawaii. Obviously, this was meant for you, so just roll with it, okay?
They're going into the volcano. Are you sure you can handle everything?
Don't worry. They'll never return to the surface again. Cookie Puss, I will eat your soul.
Alright. Watch me do this one. I got it! It's Sun Slammer?
Ronnie, over here.
Where? I can't see you!
Help! I think I'm lost in Shadow Slammer's groin!
Out of my way, Shadow Slammer. Ronnie?
I think he literally just tore him a new asshole. So after bumbling around the volcano for a while, they finally find the other discs.
Found it! Whoa, the slammer caps!
Yeah, with these I'll really show those losers who's the best at caps. Haha.
You're too late. Storm Slammer, block out this sun.
As you command.
You poor unfortunate soul! Then Ronnie uses his epic cap skills to save the day.
Shadow Slammer, get it!
As you wish.
And they said playing POGs all day will never amount to anything. Well, how do you like that? It saved the world.
Don't you stand there gawking. Command me.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry. I was staring at your tits. They're just so shiny. All the other Slammers get unleashed and they have a big fight, but then the volcano erupts.
Stop! You're causing the volcano to erupt!
Can we please stop messing with the volcano? Ronnie and What's-His-Face get out, but the Slammers get sealed away at the last minute. Or do they?
Boy, am I a klutz. This is the second time I accidentally tripped over a... Sun Slammer?
Then he runs off to be in a series that never existed while the lava destroys the homes of innocent people living nearby. The end. And that was Legend of the Hawaiian Slammers. It's pretty stupid, isn't it? Yeah, there's not really much to say about it. It kind of is what it is. I did like a few things, like some of the character designs, though some just look like generic 90s superheroes, and others seem like they didn't really have a lot of thought put into them. Ice Slammer is basically Iceman from X-Men with Guile from Street Fighter's haircut. And like I said earlier, I like that this takes place in Hawaii, but let's be real, this was just a shameless attempt to cash in on the latest fad. But what I find funny is how similar the premise of this is to a lot of anime that came out afterwards. You know, the ones with a kid who has a buddy that fights for him? Yeah, there's tons of these. And this came out in 1994, which was 2 years before Pokemon, which kinda kicked off that trend. And more recently, the characters in Yokai Watch are summoned using little discs. Interesting. It seems like that's the direction they were going with this, especially since they established Ronnie's friends, who would have likely each gotten one of their own Slammers to do something with them. Though I highly doubt anyone that worked on one of these franchises were even aware of this, but it's still pretty interesting. And as dumb as Legend of the Hawaiian Slammers is, I'm also kinda glad it exists. It's a testament to trying to make something into more than it actually is, and how far people will go to capitalize on the latest trend. Though this wouldn't have made it that far anyway, as the POG craze didn't even last that long, and thus this cartoon was slammed into obscurity. Well, that takes care of this review, and you know what? The holidays are upon us, and I haven't done a Christmas review in a very long time, and I haven't really reviewed too many good ones either, so let's say this year I take a look at one of my favorite Christmas stories.
Slammers of darkness, slammers of light. When they come together, they fight, fight, fight. Hawaiian Slammers, Hawaiian Slam, Slam, Slammers.
Behold, the ultimate pug!